Hello and welcome to Universes Collide. I'm your host Wander, and please read the rules above. Now with that out of the way, let's get to today's fighters. First off, we got Rayman, Ubisoft's limbless hero, and Crash Bandicoot, Naughty Dog's orange marsupial from Down Under. This is Universes Collide. His name is Crash Bandicoot, and his backstory: Crash was basically captured by Cortex and was going to be mutated into a super soldier. However, Crash managed to escape before the process can happen and would have left Cortex alone if it wasn't for one thing. Cortex had Crash's girlfriend, so obviously he went back to go save her, and then she ended up dumping him after the first game. Wow, that's pretty messed up. So basically after that, Cortex just wanted to kill Crash, and thankfully Crash had multiple adventures, which gave him some pretty good feats of strength. Crash has shown to be strong enough to destroy things like ice walls and casually destroy crates. He can send enemies flying with a spin attack and lift 2 large stone blocks over his head. He could also lift ice blocks over his head and throw boulders hard enough at a boss known as Koala Kong that they shatter upon impact, and those boulders were calculated to be 8 tons. He's strong enough to destroy pieces of engines mech with fruit, and he can harm his adopted brother Crunch, who is powered by the elementals, putting Crash at city level since the elementals had city level feats of power. Let's get to something that Crash is more known for, his Toon Force and durability. Let's start with durability. Crash has shown to be able to walk off huge explosions, survive attacks from characters in CTR, and can tank being punched in the face by Titans, who are on par with him strength-wise. But that's not all. He can take 100 tons falling on him like a champ, and take attacks from Tiny Tiger, who is strong enough to casually slash open metal walls. He's also durable enough to survive electrocution like it's nothing, and regenerates from most cuts and bruises. And to insanity, Crash survived an explosion that sunk an ocean liner, and he was completely fine right after. And in Crash Bandicoot Mind Over Mutant, he survived a re-entry explosion that was calculated to be city level in power, making Crash Bandicoot's durability at city level. Now, a common misconception for Crash's speed is him being slow. This is false, as Crash has dodged lightning, lasers, electricity, and bullets on multiple occasions. And he's shown to be able to dodge electricity and lightning very easily, and has shown to evade bullet fire like it's nothing in multiple Crash games. Also, Crash has quite a bit of Toon Force. He can be squashed, stretched, and burnt to ash and come back completely fine. He also has a slide ability which he can combo into a jump, a body slam ability, and his most notable move, his spin attack, which he can turn into a little tornado or use it to hover around. For weapons and arsenal, he has Aku Waku. He can create shields, turn him invincible, teleport him, he has telekinesis, and he has laser eyes that can one-shot Crash. He also has his Wumpa Bazooka, which is on par with him stat-wise as it's able to scale to his strength. He has his Yo-Yo, which is a mid-range weapon he can use to perform cool combos and attacks. Crash can also take flight with his jetpack and his helicopter pack for mid-air travel, and he has his alien walker suit, or just his normal mech, which has a Wumpa cannon and a claw. He has his bike, which he can turn into a hover space bike, and he has a Wumpa cannon while he's on the bike too. He has TNT crates that are just normal TNT crates that explode, and he has the invisible crate, which turns him invisible temporarily, making it a pretty good or useful item. And last but not least, his Mecha Bandicoot. This is the same mech that was used to one-shot the evil twins at the end of the Twinsanity. It can blast missiles, use a chainsaw attack, use a chainsaw slash attack, and even shoot a laser blast or a plasma blast out of his nose. However, its one weakness is that the plasma blast can be reflected and it does critical damage. Crash is actually really smart. He can solve puzzles in seconds, he built a rocket ship in the mangas, he can fly and pilot any vehicle he finds, and he outsmarted multiple scientists in his verse, like Cortex and Entropy and Engine, who have all shown to have pretty insane intelligence, being able to build mechs and time warp machines. And for feats, he's defeated Cortex and many other scientists multiple times. He helped defeat the evil twins in Twinsanity, teamed up with Cortex twice, and he's also helped defeat Uka Uka in Twinsanity, outsmarted the dim-witted Tiny Tiger and Dingo Dial, and he's defeated many mutants in his verse. However, even though Crash is pretty smart, he is very gullible and can fall for some of the stupidest things. He's very lazy, his Toon Force can be pretty inconsistent, and Crash is a coward at times if an enemy is too strong. Overall, Crash is pretty powerful. City level strength and durability, sub-realistic plus speeds, Aku Waku, and a huge arsenal of weapons to boot, not to mention his puzzle solving skills. Can he beat Ubisoft's limbless hero? Let's see. His name is Rayman, and his backstory, well, Rayman was created by Batilda the Fairy to keep the world safe, or his world safe. But then some jerk known as Mr. Dark came in there, stole the Great Protoon, which is the heart of his world, and Rayman basically lost all of his power. But don't worry, he defeated Mr. Dark, and it kickstarted most of Rayman's adventures. It's hard to believe, but Rayman's actually really strong. He can one-shot large metal cages and completely blitz most enemies in his verse. He's defeated large building-sized enemies and even building-sized enemies on multiple occasions, and has defeated characters like Mr. Dark, who were small country level in power when he fought them, since Mr. Dark had the power of the Great Protoon, putting him at small country level. But this isn't Rayman's greatest feat of strength. Now you see, in Rayman Legends, Rayman punched multiple Dark Teensies to a different constellation. They hit it so hard, in fact, that it shook the entire constellation, meaning that Rayman was punching them with enough force to destroy entire solar systems, or even galaxies. Now let's move on to Rayman's durability. Rayman has mild toon force like Crash. He can be squashed, stretched, and his body's malleable to the point where it can be turned into a basketball. But Rayman has other durability feats too. Rayman can take hits from Clark, who can pave out mountains and hills and create it into actual land, which should be around island level, and he survived an explosion that was bigger than this large island, putting Rayman's durability at large island level, or even higher, since Rayman survived this explosion completely unscratched and showed no visible harm. He also survived this large pirate ship exploding, and said pirate ship was able to hold over 4,000 people, and said explosion caused a giant shockwave, being around city block to multi-city block. He also survived the Hoodlum base exploding, which should be around town level to city level, since the explosion had a pretty large range. And for speed, Rayman's pretty fast. He dodged lasers, lightning, point-blank electricity, and bullet fire, and energy orb-based attacks. Now let's get to Rayman's attack speed really quick. In order for Rayman to punch that Dark Teensie to another solar system, this means Rayman was punching at over 17 million times faster than the speed of light. And this is Rayman's attack speed. Meanwhile, his normal speed should be around faster than light. Rayman also has his helicopter hair, which he can use to fly or hover, and he has his telescopic limbs, which are able to stretch over 10 feet away from him. For weapons and arsenal, he has the laser washing powder, which is basically power-ups. He can use the vortex punch to shrink enemies down to the size where they can be stomped on. He has the heavy metal fist, which doubles the strength. And he has his throttle copter, which gives him better mobility in the air and grants him infinite flight and, well, just better flight in general. He has the lockjaws, which you can use to latch onto foes and electrocute them for a short time. And he also has the blue punch, which is basically a rapid fire punch that takes out much more stronger enemies. He also has his golden fist. This thing's basically a one-hit KO item that triples Rayman's normal strength and makes him a lot stronger. He also has his plunger gun, which he can move around and fire. Even though it has limited ammo, he can still reload it, and it's actually very powerful. Now get this, Rayman's plunger gun can one-shot rabbits in their spaceships, and rabbits can survive explosions that send them into space. He also has the speed fist, which basically just gives him twice the attack speed, and his shock rocket that Rayman can pilot himself into enemies and cause huge explosions. For intelligence, Rayman can outsmart enemies who are able to control Clark. He knows basic math and other basic learning skills, and he can drive multiple vehicles and find enemy weak spots and patterns while he fights them. And these are some pretty okay intelligent feats for Rayman. For feats, Rayman defeated Mr. Dark, Razorbeard, and the Magician, and competed in a race in Rayman M. He defeated the Hoodlums in Hoodlum Havoc, and casually survives massive explosions, and he punched that Dark Teensie to another constellation, causing it to shake. And these are some pretty impressive feats. However, Rayman is pretty cocky and tends to show off. His laser washing powder can't even last a full minute, his limbs can be taken, and if the heart of his world is destroyed, Rayman basically just loses all of his power and becomes powerless. But overall, Rayman is pretty overpowered. Solar System level strength, MFTL plus attack speed and reaction speed, and many strength boosters in his arsenal, a power up that shrinks people to the point where they can be stomped on, and the Golden Fist. If you ask me, Rayman is a very powerful character, but can he beat the Orange Bandicoot? Let's see.
Proved himself to be absolutely unmanageable. An utter loss of phase for the magic peoples.
Oh, that was a long analysis, but we're going to end this debate once and for all. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? The Orange Marsupial or the Limbless Hero? And it looks like our winner is Rayman. Now let's get to why he wins right now. Now, let's start easy. Let's start with strength. While Crash can destroy boxes, metal crates, large enemies, boulders, and defeat Crunch and the Elementals, who are city level, but Rayman just blows Crash out of the water when it comes to strength, since he has solar system level strength feats, small country level ones, and large island level ones from hurting the magician. But when it comes to speed, they're pretty even. Crash can dodge lightning, Rayman can too. Crash can dodge electricity, so can Rayman. Rayman can dodge bullets, so can Crash. Rayman can dodge lasers, so can Crash. They're pretty close. However, Rayman takes it thanks to his attack speed being over 17 million times the speed of light. And for durability, Crash does have the superior pain tolerance and Toon Force, but it's nothing compared to Rayman's large island level to borderline country level durability feats, and from scaling to a solar system level punch, this will bring him up to Lost Solar System level. And Rayman's Toon Force isn't too far off from Crash's Toon Force, as he can basically survive all the same things Crash's can. But for weapons, Rayman's Vortex Punch counters most of the things in Crash's arsenal, as it can just make Crash weaker, or make his mechs weaker, or make Aku Aku weaker. And Aku Aku doesn't have the necessary power to put down Rayman for good, so Rayman can easily take out Aku Aku and make this fight go from a 2-on-1 to a 1-on-1. And then there's the Mecha Bandicoot suit. This will prove troublesome to Rayman, as its multiple attacks and onslaught of missiles will be kinda hard to make it take out, but Rayman's Vortex Punch and his Golden Fist would be able to casually one-shot it, not to mention his plunger gun was way stronger than Crash's Wumpa Cannon. So, overall, Rayman's many advantages, his physical superiority, his better weapons, and his arsenal that can shrink Crash, and his arsenal that can give him buffs, give him this win. Crash was powerful, and he had some pretty good feats on his own right, but Rayman's feats were just way above him. So the winner of this Universes Collide is Rayman.
You know, he's happier now. Look at the red lumps. How happy they seem.
Next time on Universes Collide.